In this video, I'm going to share with you something I've never shared before. I call it the gas station decision. There are 4 parts to this story. Please stay until the end. I think you'll be glad you did. Part 1. It's 5:15 p.m. By the time I pulled into the gas station, the decision had already been made somewhere on the highway around exit 14. I just hadn't admitted it to myself yet. I'd pull into the gas station and kill the engine and sit for a second. The dashboard would go dark. I was still in my work shirt with the lanyard still around my neck, and for one breath I wasn't going home and I wasn't at work. I was nowhere. And nowhere was the most peaceful place I'd been all day. Then I'd get out of the truck and walk toward the cooler. The 3 voices. There were voices in my head, and on a normal day, I didn't notice them because they all sounded like me. But they weren't me. They were a committee, and they'd been holding this meeting for years in the parking lot of the gas station. The manager. He was calm and almost pleasant. He'd run the math for me. 3 kids, homework, the dinner negotiation, a wife who wants an immediate 15 minutes of how was your day, the bath routine, the dishes. You can do all of that. You just can't do all of that without help. The Justifier. He was the loudest and the most respectable sounding. You worked 12 hours. You handled the meeting. You drove home in traffic. You did everything everyone asked. This is the one thing you do for yourself. Don't take this away too. The Identity Defender. He was quieter, but he never slept. Look at what you're buying. A 12-pack of beer at a gas station on the way home to your family. You're not an alcoholic, because that's not what true alcoholics do. Alcoholics hide bottles. Alcoholics drink in the morning. Alcoholics lose their jobs. You're a guy unwinding with a few beers. Don't be dramatic. You're not an alcoholic. My mouth was already tasting it. My legs moved faster in anticipation. My hand already knew the weight of the cardboard handle before it picked it up. I'd pay. I'd walk out. I'd set the 12-pack on the passenger seat. I'd start the engine. The tell. Here's the part I never told anyone, and probably wouldn't have admitted to myself for years if I hadn't finally been willing to look. The biggest hit of relief didn't come at the first sip. It came right there. Back in the truck, 12-pack riding shotgun, engine on, headed home. I hadn't opened anything. I hadn't tasted anything, and I already felt better. That's how I know it was never really about the beer. The beer was downstream of something else. What I actually wanted was the certainty that tonight was handled. The purchase of the beer was the dose. The rest of the night was just the long tail of a mental buzz that started in the parking lot. Now here's the question I never asked myself for 30 years. What was I actually buying? Not beer. Beer was the delivery vehicle. What was in the cardboard handle was something else. I was buying a buffer between work me and home me, because that transition used to happen on its own, and now it didn't. I was buying permission to be absent without being absent. I'd be in the room, the kids would get their dad-shaped silhouette on the couch, my wife would get the body next to her, nobody would technically be missing. I was buying a volume knob for my nervous system. The kids weren't actually too loud. My wife wasn't actually asking too much. But my ability to absorb input had been worn thin by the day, and the beer turned down the dial on everything coming at me. I was buying the right to stop performing. All day I'd been on, for the boss, the team, the traffic. The beer was the off switch. Without it, I didn't know how to be off. $12 at a gas station. That's what all of that cost. It was the best and worst deal I made all day. Part 2. If you watch the next few minutes of this video and nothing sounds familiar, you're not the man I wrote this for. If you watch the next few minutes and you feel like I've been watching your life through a window, keep watching. Because here's what I didn't know about myself. I thought the beer was what mattered. The rest was just background. It was the other way around. I performed the same dance every night, and somewhere around the booty pop, the alcohol showed up. The choreography was the engine that moved me along. The alcohol was the fuel. Here goes. Please hold on tight. The ritual. I'd pull into the driveway and sit for a second with the engine off. Just a second. The garage door was up. The house was right there, but for one breath, I was still in the truck, still in transit, still nobody's anything. That second of silence in the cab was the first move of the ritual. I never noticed it. If you'd taken it away from me, I would have felt it. The carry-in. Through the garage, never the front door. Laptop bag in one hand, 12-pack in the other. The beer went straight into the garage fridge before I ever set foot in the kitchen. My daily secret that everyone knew about anyway. Then I'd go in with just the laptop bag. I told myself it was about colder storage. The real reason was that the family fridge was for family things, and this wasn't that. The hello. I'd come in through the kitchen, hug the kids, kiss the wife, ask about her day. I was actually present for about 90 seconds. I was a good husband and a good father for 90 seconds. Everyone got the version of me they wanted. Then, the change. Let me just go change real quick. Upstairs, work clothes off, shorts and a t-shirt on. But what was actually happening in those 4 minutes wasn't a wardrobe change. It was a personality change. I was shedding the man who had to perform. The clothes were the costume of that man. Taking them off was taking him off. The first one. Back downstairs, beeline to the garage, hoping nobody would stop me. The first can would come out of the box, the hiss of the tab. That sound was the actual moment, not the sip, the sound. My nervous system had been waiting for that hiss since approximately 2 p.m. Pavlov's dog drooled at the bell, not the food. I relaxed at the hiss, not the alcohol. The alcohol hadn't even hit my mouth yet. That first sip, cold, sharp. There was always a microsecond where it tasted a little wrong, a little too bitter, a little too cold, and then my brain would correct and it'd taste right, and my shoulders would come down a full inch. I'd exhale. I didn't know I'd been holding my breath. I'd been holding my breath since I walked in the door. The chair. Always the same chair. The spot. There was a big divot in the cushion shaped like my ass cheeks. The remote was where I'd left it. The coaster was where I'd left it. The phone went face down on the armrest. This was my cockpit. From this chair, for the next 3 hours, I was in command of nothing and responsible for nothing. The chair was half the drug. The TV. It didn't matter what was on. Sports Center, The Big Bang Theory, Ancient Aliens, Bugs Bunny. It didn't matter. The TV wasn't entertainment. The TV was a permission slip. As long as the TV was on, I was watching something, which meant I was doing something, which meant I couldn't be expected to do anything else. The TV was the alibi. The beer was the activity. The pace. I didn't drink fast. I drank steady. I called it buzz maintenance. The clinical term for it is maintenance dosing, roughly 1 every 20 to 30 minutes. My body had built its own metronome over the years. Sip, sip, settle. Sip, sip, settle. They kept the blood alcohol on a smooth curve. Not too high too fast. Not too slow. That would let the edges come back. Just steady. The empties. Each empty went in a specific place. The garage, 10 feet from the door. Blue recycle bin, tossed like a quarterback to the running back. Never left on the kitchen counter. If my wife had counted them in the morning, the number would have been a conversation I didn't want to have. Never counted the empties. If I was curious, I would count the unopened ones in the morning. None, most of the time. The bedtime routine. Somewhere in there, the kids needed to be put to bed. I did it. I was good at it. Read the book, said the prayers, kissed the foreheads. I was 3 or 4 beers in, and I was better at bedtime than I'd been at 6 p.m. Softer, more patient, more willing to lie there an extra 5 minutes. See, it makes me a better dad. I'd cite this evidence to myself later. Halftime. After the kids were down, my wife would join me on the couch for an hour. I was good company for that hour. I'd let her control the remote, I'd rub her feet. She thought she had me back. What she actually had was a man whose nervous system had been chemically smoothed to the point where I could simulate presence without actually being there. She wasn't stupid, some part of her knew. We both pretended she didn't. The fade. She'd go to bed at 9:30. I'd say I'd be up in a minute. I wasn't coming up in a minute. The last 3 or 4 beers happened in the blue glow of the TV alone, and these were the most important ones. These were the ones nobody saw. These were the ones that were just for me. The earlier ones were partly for the family, to get me through dinner, bedtime, couch time. The last beers were the reward for having gotten through the day. After all, I earned this, right? The couch sleep. Most nights, I didn't make it upstairs at a reasonable hour. I'd wake up at 1 a.m. with the TV still on, mouth dry, neck stiff. I'd stumble to the kitchen for a quick glass of water and then make my way upstairs. She'd be asleep. She was used to it. I'd breeze in, brush my teeth, lie down quietly. Tomorrow she might say something, or might not. I'd be asleep in 4 minutes. And then, at 4:17 a.m., my eyes would open in the dark. Part 3. I didn't wake up at 7 like a normal person anymore. I'd wake up at 4:17, or 3:48, or 2:55. Some specific, irritating hour that was too late to take something and too early to start the day. My eyes would open before my brain did, and for about 10 seconds I wouldn't remember anything. Those 10 seconds were the last piece I'd get until my first sip that night. Then it would land. The body inventory. Mouth like cotton. A specific kind of headache that lived between my temples. Heart beating a little too hard for a man lying still in the dark. A vague nausea that wasn't quite nausea, more like my stomach was annoyed with me. I'd be sweating slightly even though the room was cool. I knew this body. I'd woken up in it thousands of times, and I was proud to be a person who could hold his liquor. The mental inventory. How many did I have last night? I'd try to count. I could get to 6 for sure. After 6, it'd get blurry. Not blackout blurry, just buzzy blurry. Was it 8? Was it the whole 12-pack? I'd look at the recycling bin in my mind and not be able to see the bottom of it. I'd decide on 8 or 9 because that number felt less damning than probably 11. But I'd know for sure when I counted the unopened ones this morning. The conversation inventory. Did I say anything to her? Did I get short with the kids about homework? Did I fall asleep on the couch again? Did I post something nasty on Facebook? I'd run the tape and there'd be gaps. Not big gaps, just enough that I couldn't be sure I'd been fully there. I'd find out at breakfast by reading her face. The promise. And here it would come, right on schedule. I have to do something about this. It arrived with full conviction, the way it always did at 4 a.m. I meant it. I meant it the way a drowning man means I will never go near water again. I'd picture myself at 5:15 p.m. driving past the gas station. I'd see it clearly. I'd just keep driving. Tonight was the night. By 4:45, the conviction had a partner. His name was the Negotiator. Maybe just cut back. Maybe just weekends. Maybe just a little liquor, no beer. Maybe a dry January next month. Give yourself a month to enjoy the holidays first. The Negotiator never asked me to drink nothing. The Negotiator only ever asked me to drink less, later. I liked the Negotiator. The Negotiator let me fall back asleep. Strong coffee, hot water on the back of the neck for longer than I needed. Somewhere in the shower, the 4 a.m. man would quietly die for the day. By the time I was toweling off, the shame had already started to repackage itself as yesterday was a long day, Jamey. You earned it. Don't worry about it. The promise got filed away. I didn't tear it up. I just stopped looking at it. Orange juice tasted too sweet. Eggs with toast tasted like nothing. My daughter would be talking and I'd be nodding without hearing. My wife would ask if I'd slept okay. Yeah, great. The first lie of the day was small. The rest would compound from there. I'd get in the truck, I'd drive to work. The 4 a.m. man was gone. The 5 p.m. man hadn't woken up yet. Part 4. The 3 men of Jamey LeVier. Here's what took me years to see. When I finally saw it, it was the thing that let me change. I had been thinking about myself wrong the whole time. I thought the man who woke up at 4 a.m. and the man who stopped at the gas station were the same man. They weren't. They had never met. The 4 a.m. version of me genuinely wanted to stop. He wasn't lying. He wasn't weak. He wasn't pretending. At 4 a.m., in the dark, with my body in revolt, I saw the situation clearly, and I meant every word of my vow. For the next 9 hours, there was the working man. He ran the meetings, hit the deadlines, joked with the team, took the calls. He was fine. He was the one his colleagues described as solid. He was the man my wife had married. The 5 p.m. man genuinely wanted the beer. He wasn't lying either. He wasn't weak. He wasn't pretending. At 5 p.m., in the truck, with my nervous system depleted and my coping reserves spent, his assessment of the situation was also perfectly clear, and his priorities were non-negotiable. The 3 of us handed the body off between us like a relay race. Every morning, the 4 a.m. man made the promise. The working man's consideration of it faded as the day dragged on. The 5 p.m. man betrayed it. I would often ask myself, I'm in it this morning. What happened? What happened was that willpower runs on glucose and sleep. By 5:15 p.m., I had neither. The man who'd made the promise no longer existed. The man holding the steering wheel at 5:15 was a different man with different priorities, and the gas station was his meeting, not the morning man's. This was not a character flaw. This was structural. You cannot keep a 4 a.m. promise with a 5 p.m. brain. Not because you are weak, because the man making the promise is not the man you'll be when it requires keeping. And then it hit me. You have not been failing for years because you lack willpower. You have been failing for years because you've been asking the wrong man to keep the promise. This is why every program built around don't drink missed my actual problem. I wasn't drinking. I was performing a nightly choreography that required a beer with every two-step. Fix the choreography and the beer becomes optional. Fix the man underneath the choreography and the choreography itself becomes optional. That second fix is the one that actually freed me. When you're ready to actually dismantle the choreography, not white-knuckle it, not negotiate with it, not promise the 4 a.m. man to try harder tomorrow, there's a 7-day system called T.I.M, the imagination method. It's the work I did to stop being the man at the gas station and start being a man the gas station no longer recognizes. It's not for everyone. It's not for the man who's just curious. It's for the man who's done. You'll find a link in the description to the T.I.M program that I built for the man who is done. It might be the best decision you make today. It's my method. I created it. It works. And if it doesn't, I'll give you your money back. No questions asked. Thanks for watching. This is Sober Man on a Mission. I'll see you in the next one.